It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on Habscast.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know how many people are going to show up for this one because I apparently I put it at 11 p.m. Start time. Hey, still getting the I slept in this morning, still getting the fog out of my brain a little bit. Just like yesterday, another emergency podcast going on here. Looked at my Twitter feed and Carrier out 2 to 4 weeks. So I scratched my head and said, okay. So now they're going with 6 left defensemen and 1 right defenseman. Clearly, it's not Reinbacher time. Clearly, this is, David Reinbacher will not be called up before the end of the season. I think we can officially assume that at this point. I mean, unless Dobson gets hurt, Hudson, Engstrom, and anybody else that can play on the right side now gets hurt. The 3 of them get hurt. After they call up Del Gaizo, Trudeau, and maybe Reinbacher will get called up. But I mean, obviously that's not going to happen. All those guys aren't going to get hurt, and obviously, David Reinbacher is. The plan was, they had a plan. Obviously, going into the year, said, okay, we're giving him a full year. Come hell or high water, he could score 2 points a game, and he's going to be playing the full year in Laval. Hey, Kent said he wants him overripe. It's going to be, the peel is going to be coming off the banana by next, by next training camp, I guess. And hey, they make the decisions. We can grumble and complain or do whatever we want, but they clearly have their reasons for doing it. And hey, I'm watching from afar. I mean, I see Reinbacher and I see what I think is a defenseman that's ready for a look at the NHL level. But they Canadians, I suppose, feel differently about it, right? They're not, Pascal probably gets asked as well. I mean, at the end of the day, Engstrom has played better than Reinbacher this year on a whole. He's played quite a bit on the right and looked good. I went back over it and I thought he had played more on the left than on the right recently, but as some people had pointed out to me, he's played quite a bit on the right. Like in his last pre-injury, he was playing with Del Gaizo on the right, and he got injured, came back, started with Rhino, his first game back. Then he was on the right with Trudeau. Then he was back on the left with Rhino. The last 2 games, he's played on the right with Middlestat. So 4 out of his 3 out of the 5 since he returned from injury on the right. And before his injury, he was playing quite a bit on the right with Del Gaizo. So I'm looking good. I mean, I still say, it's a different story looking good on the right on your offside in the minors than it is doing it at the NHL level. I think it's a big ask for a rookie to come in and play on the right side. And we don't even know yet if that's even going to be the case, right? Like he could be the 7th defenseman and they play Struble or Jackeye or Gooley on the right. So we don't know that yet. But I guess the thinking is, hey, Engstrom's been the best defenseman in Laval, regardless of which side he plays on. He's been called up before. He sat in the stands before, if that's what he ends up doing. So call him up, and he could be the spare. He could be, there's still a few question marks here, like Anderson out still, and Jackeye's going to play up on the wing again. So they needed another defenseman, and it didn't matter if it was right or left. I guess I don't know. I still think it'd be good to have two right-hand defensemen in the lineup. Like this is pretty rare air here, dressing five or maybe even six left defensemen with one of them playing up on the wing and one right defenseman. You don't see it very often, but clearly the Canadians and Laval too look at it a little differently. That oh no, guys can play on the right because freaking Engstrom's been doing it pretty well all year in Laval. Excuse me, but I don't know. It's a little strange that they would go that route. I think, but I guess the reasoning is that just we'll call up the best defenseman, and regardless of which side that he plays on. But I don't know. Has there been any word on Anderson, or is he going to play? Somebody said yesterday he is going to play. I don't know that for a fact, but anyway, it's going to be an interesting game tonight. Tampa Bay. You got to figure, they're a fairly rugged team. You figure Jackeye is going to be playing, whether it's up front or on defense. Again, it's kind of tough to call up a guy, and in this case, Engstrom, and fly him into Tampa and say, okay, you're playing. I don't know if Kucherov's playing again. If somebody has that information, I know we missed the last game. Hedman and Kucherov, are they playing tonight? Does anyone know? Scrambling to get this podcast ready and didn't get to that because I was looking at video of Engstrom and trying to figure out just how much he's been playing on the right side, and he looks good. Like Engstrom's a good defenseman. He won't kill you out there, but again, game time decision for Kucherov and Hedman. Okay, but imagine, well, okay, here, play your first game. Call him up, fly him into Tampa, and say, okay, you gotta face Kucherov on your offside, like Nikita Kucherov, who might be he is the most productive player in the NHL the last couple of months. He's just on fire, absolutely. Like one of the three best players, might win the MVP, right, Francois? So that's quite a task. Okay, you go up against the hottest scorer in the league, MVP candidate in your first on your offside. Good luck. Here's a cookie. You get to eat it after the game if you keep them down to 6 points. But I don't know. It's an interesting move by the Habs. They've certainly surprised me a few times. I thought it must be Goalie. Goalie must be the one that's out. It can't be because it's an injury to a right defenseman. And no, sure enough, wrong again. Hey, I'm not batting 1,000, eh? Nobody is, I guess, but certainly not me lately. Reinbacher. That's the part, do they think less of him than I do? I start to almost wonder that a bit. Like, am I overrating him? Are they, not that high on him after all? I find that hard to believe. Like, it even crossed my mind for the first time ever today. Like, might they even be considering moving him in the off season? Probably not. It's just they made an organizational decision that clearly that he was, regardless, no matter what, he's spending the year in Laval, and one full season of minor league hockey for a big European defenseman that just missed a season, does not have much pro experience in North America. I understand it. I get it. Like, it's not a poor decision. I just sometimes circumstances can change your thinking, and logic tells you that it should, uh, that every top 5 defenseman picked in the last 19 years, 18 years, has played an NHL game by the age of 22, every single one of them. But I guess Reinbacher is going to be the exception. And as I mentioned last night, there is a positive to that. In this organization doesn't care what others think. They don't care what the media thinks or the fans think. As far as Reinbacher, was that a bust pick? He's never going. He hasn't played a game by 22. Look at all these other players that were drafted after him that are regulars in the NHL right now, and he's, they don't care that there's noise. The white noise doesn't. It's irrelevant to them. They have a plan in place and they're sticking to it, and it doesn't matter what the the guys in the cheap seats say or think. They're sticking to that plan. So there's a certain amount of you got, you have to admire that to a certain amount. Like I said last night, I truly think that Bergevin made a mistake not sending Kotkaniemi to the minors in his second year, when it was obvious that him missing training that because of a knee injury after his rookie season, he was a step behind and he lost his confidence, and he should have been in the minors. But I really think that because there was so much heat on them for that pick, top 3 pick, and Tkachuk was doing so well, and that he didn't want to go through that. He couldn't handle all that criticism, and said, well, no, we're going to keep KK up with the big club, and because it would make us and me look bad if we sent him to the minors. And that was a mistake. You have to not take things personally when you're in that job. You have to make hard decisions that sometimes make you look bad, but in the long run are the best. What's best for the organization and for the player. And these guys have a different mindset when it comes to that. Their vision and plan is long term here. Do what's best for the organization long term. It hasn't just been, they've been saying that, but it's decisions like this that really verify that that's what they're doing, that they're they're not so worried about what the criticisms and how people react to the decisions they're making, because they think that for the long term this is the best approach, and they're sticking to their plan. So so David Reinbacher is going to make the team out of camp next year, and he will be on Montreal's blue line for the next 15 years. That's what I see happening. Like, I don't think it's anything more than them making the decision early on and sticking to their guns that Reinbacher is going to play an entire year in the American Hockey League. And he even had an injury this year, so it's not a full year even this year. But it's just that's the decision they made. And Engstrom is older. He's he's been one of the best defensemen in the American Hockey League this year, and he's played a lot on the right side. He can play on the right side, and he might play on the right side tonight. That's the big question. We'll have to see. Like, I'm curious, like, what are the formations going to be on the blue line tonight? I mean, there's about 20 different combinations you could look at. Will Anderson be playing? Will Jack-I be up on the wing again? What I guess what we could see, and I mean, this is just a guess, but Matheson with Dobson, Gooley with Carrier, and man, yeah, I guess and Jack-I and Struble, the third pairing with Struble maybe playing on the right because he's played a fair bit on the right. Like, he played quite a bit in college on the right. And them not getting a hell of a lot of ice time, maybe 8 minutes and really play. And I think whether it's, Engstrom on the third pairing, or they go with Jack-I and Jack-I up front if, there's an injury, or they go with Jack-I and Struble maybe as a third pairing instead of keeping Struble with Hudson, Matheson, Dobson, and then having third pairing where they play a fair bit because you still got one of the top four guys in the third pairing. They may try to ride four guys and have have Jack-I and Struble playing 8 minutes or something like that in a third pairing with one of them on their offside. Or if it's Engstrom on the right, have it Jack-I or Struble and Engstrom with them playing 6 to 10 minutes or something like that. But what at the end of the day, expect 28 minutes from Hudson, 28 minutes from Matheson, 5 minutes from Dobson, and 25 minutes from Gooley. Like, those guys will play big minutes tonight. I think that's the thing that's most predictable because of what hey, the good news in all of this is that I mean, it's not good news for Carrier, obviously, but the good news in all of this is that Gooley's not injured. He's been playing great. He's been playing better than Carrier, and he needs to be healthy for a 50-game stretch here for the first time in his NHL career. So that's the good news. And unfortunate for Carrier, but this does give the Canadians an opportunity to see what life would be like without Carrier, right? Because I mean, there is a possibility, and it's been discussed that Carrier is maybe moves on in the summertime, like that he gets replaced. I mean, obviously Reinbacher, right? I think Reinbacher already is better than Carrier, and that next year he'll definitely be ahead of him in the depth chart. So this will afford the club an opportunity to see, can we subsist? Can we survive without Carrier, in the lineup and still prosper? Well, I guess we'll have a better idea over the next 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. Did we hear what the injury was to Carrier? Like what? Upper body, lower body? I haven't looked. Did he play right to the end of the game? I didn't even notice. Like nobody mentioned last night that it could be Carrier, so it was kind of a surprise. I guess what I'm going to do here is look at his final shift here as we're talking and going along, and see if maybe can discern what exactly happened to Carrier last night. So just bear with me a minute here, and I'm going to have a look at his last shift. Oh, he had lots of shifts in the third period. He was on with 2 minutes left. So I'm just looking at it here. Okay. He was skating fine with so far on this shift. I'm just going to okay. Goes into the corner, gets hit from behind a little bit, but that didn't look like anything serious. He certainly didn't come off right after that, so back into the corner again. Taylor Hall ran into him, but again, nothing. Huh. Don't see anything. Don't tell me he was out for a midnight stroll and got hit by a car like Emil Heineman last year. But he played right to the end of the game and looked to be skating fine, looked okay. Didn't certainly look like he got injured on his last shift. So they're saying upper body, eh? I don't know. That's an odd one. I hope something didn't happen in the room, in the hotel room or something. Slipped and conked his head. I don't know. Anyway, that's a bit odd that that he's out 2 to 4 weeks based on maybe he hurt himself in practice. I guess it does happen. So I guess that's probably what happened, because he played right to the end of the Carolina game and he looked fine. All right. Well, let's get to a few. I guess this won't be too long a one. We don't have too many people showing up. With Carrier out, it is even more confusing why Reinbacher was not called up. We need a true right Diaz at a replacement. Yeah, well, I agree, but I guess they're sticking to their guns with, the Reinbacher plan for this year. And with Carrier out, he would get playing time, so would not be on the sidelines. Really, do not get what they have against Rhino. Hey, I feel your pain, Samurai, but I don't think it's that they have anything against Rhino. I think that he is really highly regarded in the organization, and I think it's because they truly value him that they think the best thing for him long term is to stay in Laval this year and keep developing and not rush him, be overripe, as Kent Hughes kept saying, and that's their plan. They're sticking to it, and I can't. I don't agree with it necessarily, but at the same time, they still have call-ups to do here, and if things aren't working out with with this move that they made calling up Enstrom, they can always still call up Reinbacher. So it's not like, this is etched in stone and it's the only move they can make. They can, if things start to fall apart here a little bit, they still have that option of calling up Reinbacher. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think things are going to fall apart. The goaltending is steadied itself. I mean, Carrier out of the lineup, is Engstrom a big step down from Carrier being? No. The only thing is having five lefties on the blue line is, but I mean, they've done it before. This won't be the first time that they played with 5 left defensemen. They've certainly gotten a lot of practice at it. Goalies played on the right. Matheson's played on the right. They've all played on the right. Hudson, obviously, a lot on the right. Jackey's even played some on the right, and Struble. So it's not like none of them have played on the right, and Engstrom as well. They've all played on the right-hand side. So I guess, you go with four centers all shooting the same way, and you can prosper with that. Then, I mean, obviously, since they picked up Deneau, that's changed, but they did start the year with 4 right centers, and that didn't seem to affect them too much. So I guess they're not too hung up on which way the guys shoot. Certainly, though, there's a difference between being a right center, having 4 right centers and having 5 left defensemen. It's tougher to play on your offside on defense than it is to, have 4 centers that all shoot the same way. That's you can adapt a little more for that, but Samurai's a little emotional about this. I feel bad for the kid, for the zero lack of faith the Habs are showing in him. Well, again, I don't know that this necessarily means it's a lack of faith. It just, it means that they feel that he shouldn't be brought up this year. And, we can disagree with it, but I really don't think it means that they have a lack of faith in Reinbacher. I hope not. This could end up good for Montreal. PK will be forced to get better with Carrier out. Well, yeah. And I mean, they can, right? This is going to afford Gooley the opportunity to be on the first PK. That's a good point, by the way, Yarrow. And personally, I prefer him, even on his wrong side on the PK, to Carrier being out there on the PK. So, yeah, and as Yarrow followed up with, he wasn't great on the PK. He had been better lately, but no, he's not very good at clearing the front of the net. And on the PK especially, you need to be able to do that. There's always somebody pretty much camped in the crease area. Most teams have a guy that, I know Montreal doesn't necessarily do it, but a lot of teams do, where you've got a guy camped trying to screen the goalie. And Carrier wasn't what you would call the best crease clearer, it's fair to say. Engstrom does none of what he does in the AHL when he plays in the NHL. Well, I mean, he's what, like, I know what you're saying, but different partners all the time, 10 minutes a game, first 10 games of your NHL career at defense. You can't judge completely a player on that. obviously he was better at the AHL level offensively. Came up to the NHL and didn't get a point. But it takes time too, right? You have to. But I don't disagree. To date, at least at the NHL level, he hasn't been as effective, nearly as effective as he was in the AHL. But I don't think he was terrible either. You know, he was satisfactory. I think certainly he didn't have any. You know, his worst game was not worse than Carrier's worst games of the year this year. I think Carrier's had a few clunkers, and I don't really recall Engstrom having a clunker in his his first audition with the with the Montreal Canadiens. So we'll see. And again, he may not even play, right? I mean, whether it's Goulet on the right or Engstrom on the right or Jacque on the right or Struble on the right, it's going to be a left defenseman playing on the right. So, you know, I don't see them. I'd be surprised if Anderson's back or Texier's back and Jacque's not playing up. I'd still be surprised if they set Jacque back up in the press box to have Engstrom play ahead of him. I know he's been playing more on the right than Jacque. I get that, but Struble could play on the right. Goulet could play on the right. Matheson could play on the right. And Jacque, on the third pairing on the left. So I'd be a little surprised if Jacque sits in the press box tonight and Engstrom's in. But again, I was wrong on trying to guess that it must be Goulet with an injury. I was wrong when they called up Engstrom. I was wrong in thinking that Reinbacher was going to get called up by now to have a look. So I could be wrong again. Maybe they will. I just think team chemistry wise, Jacque's been a loyal soldier and sat out a bunch of games there. And to turn around now, he gets the Wolves' head last game. He does whatever the team asks, go play up on the wing, even though you're a defenseman. No griping, no nothing. The club the players love him. And then to turn around and say, no, we're going to give this AHL guy a spot and you're going to go back to the press box. I don't know. I think I don't know that that's the right decision if that's what they decide to do too. I'd be questioning that a little bit from a team standpoint. I think it would certainly bother Arbor, but it would bother, I think, its teammates too if they did that at this point. But sometimes you got to make decisions that players don't necessarily love. If the coaches think that that's the best solution, it's the best for the team, sometimes you make those hard decisions that the players aren't necessarily going to be on board with. But again, looking at Marty's track record and just how he operates when it comes to not ruffling feathers and keeping that team bond strong, I don't know that he would do that tonight, that he would put Arbor back up in the stands so that an AHL rookie could play ahead of him. But we'll see. I certainly am not. I've stopped being emphatic about any of my predictions because they keep surprising me here. So, who plays on the PK? Yeah, well, doesn't matter. Engstrom's not a PK guy. Dobson can play on the PK. Matheson can play on the PK. Hudson can play on the PK. Struble can play on the PK, and Goalie. I think Goalie replaces. It's Matheson, Goalie on the top pairing on the PK probably now. Maybe Dobson gets a little more time. They just, Hudson might play a little more on the PK. He's shown that he can. Hudson can play anything, so I'm not too worried about that. In fact, the PK might be better without Carrier in there, honestly. Going for 6 wins in a row, baby. Hey, Melvin. There. Melvin comes up and brings up a very good point. That's right. Going for 6 straight. I mean, it's going to be tough, but how many people expected the Habs to go into Carolina and, actually beat them back to back, both at home and in Carolina? I mean, at best, I would have thought 3 points out of those 2 games. Certainly not 4, but hey. And yes, going for 6 wins in a row. As I said a couple of podcasts ago, when I started looking through, it's been since 2017 since the Canadians won 5 straight games in regulation. So it's heady times for the club. They're, the confidence is soaring. And once again, 1-5 in a row, confidence soaring, teams bonding, all that stuff. They're on the road. Do they kind of upset the chemistry a bit by saying, okay, kid, you're in, Jack Eye, you don't play. We prefer this kid to you. I don't know. I don't know if they do that. If they do, it'll surprise me a bit. But we'll see. We'll see what the plan is here. Goalie, Dobson, and I say Hudson, Jack Eye. Goalie, Dobson, Hudson, Jack Eye, and Matheson, who? Or is this, you're saying this for the PK? Well, Matheson is the big PKer. They're not going to just suddenly, they're missing one of their top penalty, the big penalty minute guy, and they're not going to say, okay, well, we're not going to have the other guy that plays even more minutes on the PK. Yeah, we're not even going to play him on the PK now. If that's what you're getting at, Yarrow, I don't think that's likely to be the case. Wi-Fi try. We don't mind dropping. Yeah, I doubt that Jack Eye goes from being a 6-8 minute, 10-minute defenseman to being on the PK at this point. I just don't think that they trust him that much. Game time decision for Kucherov, Hedman. No. Yeah, Hedman's not playing. That helps Canadians. Hedman. He's still one of the best defensemen in the league. Try anything if you're Montreal now. Dropping. Oh, geez, Yarrow, you're really you're dominating the live chat here. Dropping to wildcard and getting Carolina in first round seems best chance. Well, I don't. You don't worry about that. Dropping the wild card, yeah, let's lose a couple on purpose here and then miss the playoffs altogether. It's way too tight to be friggin' playing that kind of game. Because, we've seen it. Bring on the Jets. Wasn't that the crowd there? Toronto chanting, remember that in the Maple Leaf Square? And yeah, well, careful what you wish for, right? Ended up losing. Maybe Reinbacher was part of the deal that didn't happen. No, absolutely not. That's silliness. Nope. He wasn't part of any deal. Don't you think McJesus can realistically sign it up with Montreal? No, I don't realistically think. You're reading too much into it. It's a sound decision to bring up Engstrom. Okay, you meaning me. I've been well, if you listen to everything I said, Glenn, I said that exact thing. So, no, I'm not reading too much into it. I'm I'm covering all the bases here. It's like explaining what they may be thinking, what I think, you know, and it's not reading too much into it. Absolutely not. Gallagher may be sitting tonight if Addy's back and Engstrom is put in. That way, Arbor starts on the fourth line. Yeah, maybe. Wasn't Lonnie playing defense at practice last week? He's right-handed. There you go. Yes, Francois. That's duh. Why didn't I think of that? Line A is going to be drawn in. Yeah. Carry injury is upper body. Yeah. Well, it wasn't his feet because he was skating just fine his last shift. Unless, again, like it could have happened in practice, I guess, right? Reinbacher needs to make the Habs start of next season. If not, he's likely one to be traded. Well, no, that wouldn't mean that if he doesn't make it at the start of next season either. But I expect him to make the team at the start of next season. I like the call up as it will help the Habs decide who stays and who goes. Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to bring up too. And again, maybe Engstrom doesn't even play, but if he does, then it's another look at him. You know, it's another perhaps it's another showcase um, po- possibility. Like someone was saying, maybe Reinbacher was part of the package. Well, maybe Engstrom was, right? And the club that they were going to trade with, well, he gets another look at the NHL level and they have a better decision on him. So Romanov was traded when no one expected it. Well, I don't know about that. They had too many left defensemen. I expected them to trade a left defenseman, so it wasn't a big shock. And when it ended up being for Doc, it made complete sense. So uh, it doesn't make sense for them to trade the right, who's going to be their top two right defensemen for 15 years. That fits the bill for size, physicality. He was a top 5 pick. There's a huge difference between, trading Romanov when you had a wealth of left defense depth and trading Reinbacher when you don't obviously have a wealth of right defensive depth. No comparison whatsoever. Reinbacher will have his top 4 spot next season next to Hudson. Probably. He may still get a look by the end of the year. And as I said, yes, that's a possibility too. What's the future of Texier with the Habs? Hard to say with Texier. Could be third liner, could be fourth liner, could be spare. Depends on other players too, right? I mean, I can't predict. Texier, it looks like a AHL or some games and looks like a top 6 guy, some others. So who knows with Texier? It's up to him. And, up to Hage and all that other stuff. If Hage comes in, he plays and he looks great, then, Texier is probably sitting in the stands. Everyone with eyes and access to puck GM knew Romanov was getting traded. Well, okay, that's a little much, but we knew somebody on the left was getting traded. Puck GM knows everything, does it? Spider Jerusalem? We don't need right-hand defense. That's for chumps. Let's go all left and confuse some coaches. There you go. Yeah. 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 There you go. I don't mind choosing Engstrom, Reinbacher missed a lot of development time, so I think they're taking the time with him as opposed to throwing him in the middle of a playoff race. Yep. Glenn, Arbor was given the wolf head after the game in Carolina. Yeah, I said that, Glenn. Are you watching this on mute or? Many Nyes rumors, unlikely new general manager trade him. Reinbacher is not going to be traded. I agree, Lotus Man. Line A, perfect stay-at-home D-man. 6'5" D-man with physicality and right shot. The physicality part for sure. And he's all defense, right? Anderson is... What's that mean, Ellen? Have anyone watched the Toronto? Didn't you ask that again last night, or somebody did? No, I don't really care. Gudis had the fight. Needed to get that out of the way. Didn't even throw a punch. It's all done with. Did someone else fight him the rest of the game? I don't know. I didn't. I'm not going to watch Anaheim. I don't watch Leafs at the best of times, let alone now, this time of the year, in a nothing game. Not at the top of my viewing choice. That's for sure. Has it been confirmed that he'll be back in, or are you predicting that, Ellen? I'm just going to see if Stu knows. Anderson is practicing. Yeah, well, I guess that's a good sign. I trust Grant's evaluation of players more than anyone else. If he says Reinbacher's ready, then he's probably ready. Well, hopefully you trust the Canadians' evaluation of players too, Lotus Man. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first player that's ready, but that doesn't get called up because they're not rushing him, and won't be the last. So again, I think they have a plan in place where they're not going to bring up Reinbacher this season. They sort of made that decision, and it's looking like they're sticking to that was the plan, and that they're sticking to the plan, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. Hopefully Habs keep both the goalies going forward. We don't want another Price Halask fiasco where they trade the wrong guy. Still smoking all right. Yeah, smoking the good stuff. Yeah. Well, that's been kind of a topic, and thanks for bringing that up. And I did tweet something out about that yesterday because you're seeing, got to trade one of them. And even somebody replied to it, said, well, going to have to trade one of them. They're both going to want to be number one. Well, you don't know that. Like, hey, you want both goalies to want to be number one, first of all. But there's been lots of tandems through the years that are both worthy of being number one goalies, and you split it 55-45 or even 50-50, right? And then at playoff time, you go with the whoever, like Chico Resch and Billy Smith for who knows how many years in New York. There were regular seasons where Chico played more than Smith, And then once the puck dropped in playoffs, Chico have a bad game. Well, Billy's in, and Chico wasn't saying, "Oh, I want out of town." Like, first of all, I don't see Fowler being that type of personality that would, he's pretty laid back. Like, if Dobish is out playing him and plays 55% of the games 2 years from now, I don't see Fowler. First of all, he has no leverage. He's a freaking RFA up for another 5 years. I can't see Fowler saying, "Oh, trade me because I should be the starter." That's not his personality, I don't think. You know, uh, and I mean, even Doby, like, earlier in the year when he had a legitimate complaint about not playing more because he was playing very little, even though he was clearly outplaying the other guy. So, you know, maybe in 3 years' time, if Fowler's playing 60 games and Doby's playing 22, then yeah, I could see maybe it being an issue, and then you know them looking to trade Dobish. That would be the scenario that I think, if it comes to that then you know you you make a decision and say, okay, uh, let's trade Dobish once they have another goalie that's ready to be the backup with Fowler. Like maybe Cornway or Volokin's ready then, and okay, well, let's trade Dobish now. If or who knows? They could be a tandem for a decade. You don't know. There's been lots of good tandems through the years that play together, and you know, uh, hey, you're earning a good friggin' NHL paycheck. You're on a winning team. You're a close knit bunch. You get along with the other goalie. You know, so what if you're playing 40 or 30, 35 games as opposed to playing 55? If the team's winning, if the other goalie's playing better than you, and you know, how can you be, oh, well, I've got to, and who knows that they both should be first, should be starters. In 3 years' time, one of them could be playing like crap, and right? He's not going to say, well, trade me because I'm a number one goalie, when it's quite obvious that he's not playing like it. So who knows what the future holds on that. Uh, what I do know is it would be foolish to trade one of them now, because to trade one of them now, because you just don't know who's going to be the better goalie down the road. It's way too early to be making that decision, right? You don't know. Like, I can remember when Halak got traded, how many people said, "Oh, that they made the wrong decision there." Halak's better right now. Like, even though Price was younger, Price was the top 5 pick. Price, you know, projected to be better down the road. But there were a lot of people, "Oh no, we made the wrong decision," because they were living in the now. It's like, well, Halak was better. Halak did well in the playoffs. You can't trade Halak. He's better right now. Well, they traded Halak because, and another one of the reasons why they traded Halak was because they needed to get better. They needed some skaters. They needed depth. They needed another young player, a young center, and they got it in Eller, right? Well, Montreal's not in that situation where, oh, we don't have good young talent on the team. We have to add a forward or a defenseman. They don't have to. Back then, at the time, Halak, Price, you look at that friggin' team, and the forward depth and young talent, it was almost non-existent at the time. So it was, you know, it was a thing out of necessity almost, that they had to do it just to try to improve the forward core as much as, well, we have to trade one of these two. It was, they made the decision that, and the right one, that Price was the goalie of the future. They had a good tradable asset in Halak. They had another goalie coming up that could be the backup. Had the range to Price, the top 5 pick. It's not like Fowler or Dobish was a top 5 pick, right? So, they're not as promising as Fowler is. He's still not expected or touted to be as good a goalie as Carey Price was, and how touted he was at the time. So, Goalie Arbor pairing, third pairing at practice. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Arbor on the right, or Goalie on the right. And that's that's a tough pairing, right? I'm going to assume that it's Goalie on the right, but yeah, that's interesting. So there you go. Engstrom not even. That's what I expected. I expected, you bring up Engstrom, and again, that then makes more sense of why it would have been Engstrom rather than Reinbacher. Like, I'm fine with them deciding, okay, we think Gooley's would be better on the right side right now and help us win more than Reinbacher being in and on the right side. So if you look at it from that perspective, okay. And also, Reinbacher can't be sitting. He's the guy that's only played 70 some pro games in North America. He needs to play 25 minutes every game. You can't call him up to sit in the stands. So if that's the case, then it makes sense. Then I'm less, puzzled and more, okay, this makes sense. What wouldn't have made sense was Jackeye in the stands, Engstrom in the lineup, and especially playing on the right side as an AHL defenseman being asked to play against Tampa on his offside. Yeah, it just didn't compute with me. Reinbacher needs to play, so they call up Engstrom to be the seventh guy. He's earned it this year. Good point totals, playing well. Probably the best defenseman in Laval this year. So he gets the right. He gets the cookie. He gets to practice with the team, all that stuff. But he's not playing, at least not right now, anyway. So, okay, it does when now it's clear what the plan was, and I don't disagree with it. I would have disagreed if Engstrom was in the lineup and Jackeye was out, and you went with Hudson and Engstrom, two guys with between them with 170 games of NHL experience, or 160, both playing on the right hand side against a Tampa team that's pretty explosive. That wouldn't have made a ton of sense to me. Page, Doc, and Andy in this lineup makes the Habs very dangerous. I'm pretty stoked. Yeah, that's true, eh? You go into friggin' Carolina and you win without Hage, Doc, and Anderson. Well, you add those three. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. St. Louis, Lost a tough one in last minute yesterday. Too bad for them. They were getting back in the race. Mhm. Hi, Grant. Good day. Think there should be a 1A, 1A now. 1A, 1 and 1A now. They seem to get along. Yeah. I just wrote what you said. There you go. Well, I can't disagree with you then. Yeah, that's for sure. Having two number one goalies is a nice problem to have. Absolutely. Yeah. No rush to trade anybody, and you don't know. I'm okay letting Rhino cook in Laval. It's not worth the risk of one of the goons on Tampa injuring him. He needs to play more. Yeah. Does Tampa have goons? I don't know. Yeah. It's Montempo that will be traded this summer. Oh, well. Yeah. Seventh round pick, I guess, or whatever. I remember when the Vezina was both goalies combined. Yeah. No, the Vezina's always gone to the best goalie. The William Jennings was the uh yeah. The concept of one goalie playing 70 like Marty doesn't really exist anymore. Most teams have more sustainable game distribution where both goalies are happy. Yep. Gooley Arbor is a pairing I would like to see against Tampa. Hmm. Yeah, maybe, eh? Didn't say. Well, why wouldn't you say? It's kind of pertinent who's on the right side. Stu thinks Dobish and goal and Engstrom replaced Carrier, but that was 3 minutes ago. He may not know what the defense pairings were. Stu Cowan. Just a sec here. Grant was right. Well, thank you, Grex, but right about what? When Reinbacher arrives in Montreal, it will be the right time. I trust the Habs admin. There you go. It all makes more sense. Yes, it does. Andy back at practice. Good. Hopefully 5 left. Handy don't kill us against Tampa. Let's hope so. Hudson needs to stop wanting to play tough like he has done lately. A lot of heart, Lane, but Carrier plays like that and he's injured now. Yeah. I think he's got to be competitive. I mean, can't change the way he plays. I couldn't remember the name of the trophy for lowest goals against average. Thanks, Grant. Yeah. They're starting to hit our goalies, and we saw that what happened to Fowler. Hudson must not start being the defender, not physically. Where are the tough Ds in Montreal? One of them is not playing much. Well, apparently he's playing tonight. They can still bring Rhino up later on. I still think we'll see him at some point. I don't know. This was the opportunity when you got when you're down to one right defenseman and you don't call up Reinbacher, you know. But also, it's hey, if indeed Engstrom's in the stands and Jackie's playing, it's a nod to Jackie too. You know, it's kind of tough. Like whether it's Engstrom or whether it's Reinbacher getting called up and replacing him, in the lineup, it still would be tough for Jacky, who is, you know, in his 4 years has bled red, white, and blue, defended teammates, you know, always the guy who'll fight anybody on the other team, stick up for everybody, you know. I guess if that's the thought process that, hey, you know, we can't do this to Arbor, then I get it, right? And it also means that I guess it, you know, that then they aren't calling up Reinbacher because, again, you're down to one left or right defenseman and you just don't call him up. I think he's in Laval for the rest of the season. Kyle is investigating. Good man. See, that's I've got a whole I've got dozens of investigators. You know, I don't have time. I can't be scouring through when I'm doing a solo show here, scouring through the X Twitter timeline to get this info. That's why you good folks are indispensable. And by the way, I've got like 879 people watching on X. 69, good number, on here on YouTube. Hop on over. Join the live chat here. I need more investigators. Tell us what you're seeing on X there. And, you know, who's practicing on the right? Is it Goalie or is it Jacky? I assume it's Goalie, but I don't know. Come on in. Tell us. Hit that like button when you come on over. Recruits, it's Habscast on YouTube. Jump on over and join the best Habs community that there is. About Arbor playing, yeah, well, I guess so. I assume that because he's practicing with Goalie that he will, you know, he'll be playing on the third pairing. It's one thing, the pack culture, but smaller players are not going to win the physical aspect. Yeah. It's debatable that Habs made the right choice keeping Price. What? I called it after his rookie season that Price would never win a cup in Montreal. 10 years later, it turned out I was right. He wasn't raw. All right, buddy. Arbor was decent when he played on the right side earlier this season. His strength allowed him to pinch decently along the ramp in the offensive zone. Still smoking. Let's get back to this. So you think Montreal didn't win a cup in those 10 years because of Carey Price? It wasn't because they had David Desharnais as their first line center, Max Pacioretty as their captain. They had one 30-goal scorer. You know, that had nothing to do with it. It was just because Carey Price. Halak would have won them a cup with David Desharnais as their first line center. Come on, buddy. You weren't right about anything. Friggin' comment like that. I was right. Arbor was decent when he played on the right side earlier this season. His strength allowed him to pinch decently along the ramp. I don't know. Using his backhand. I have confidence in Habs and Laval's management to make best decision on Engstrom and Reinbacher, even though I'm a Reinbacher fan. There you go. Jacky is similar to Matheson when it comes to giveaways. Only problem is that Matheson can make up for some of his blunders with his skating. Today I'm going to be positive and say that Jacky plays. Yeah. Who could they afford as a forward paying Price 10? Okay. Well, that wasn't the next year. they had quite a few years before they gave him the big salary, and they didn't win. So Reinbacher is not ready at all. He's still gun shy. Leave the kid alone. Yeah, okay. See, you haven't been scouting him too closely. Jack Guy is similar to Matheson when it comes to giveaways. Only problem is that Matheson can make up for some of his blunders with his skating. Today I'm going to be positive and say that Jack Guy plays. Well, he's practicing with goalies, so. And I agree with that Matheson can make up for it with his skating. Yeah, that's right. I have confidence in Habs and Laval to make best decisions on Engstrom. Yes. Error-free and helps the Habs win. Rhino is Hughes one of his prized jewels. He will protect him at all costs. Yeah, I think so. I agree, Ellen. Black would have been good enough with better forwards. Yeah. And Price would have been even better with better forwards. Every cup winner since 2010, they still win the cup with Price as their goalie. Yep. Oh, there's GLG. There's a reminder for me. Just a sec here. G Gable 96. Okay, hang on. I got to do something here now that I'm thinking of it. Good afternoon, everybody. I just have to unblock somebody here. Holy frick, there's a few G Gables. G Gable 96. Gregory Gable. There. Done. All right. Back to the show. I understand no 72 does not have the hockey talent that the Laval D has. But when you need toughness number, 72 is the man. There you go. And that morning, guys, another wonderful day of hockey. Yeah. Philly in a different time zone than us, Mr. Gable? I don't think so. It's afternoon now, buddy. You're saying the Habs haven't been scouting. Are you saying the Habs haven't been scouting Reinbacher? Ooh, what do you mean? You listen to what word I've been saying? I've given both sides of the story here, and I've given why they aren't doing it. They don't want him sitting in the stands. Jack Eye's clearly going to play, and Engstrom's sitting in the stands. So I'm not saying anything like that. Don't be facetious, okay? Thank you. No team wins a cup paying their goalie $10 million. All right. Still smoking. Maybe it's time. Shouldn't have done the wake and bake this morning, buddy, because you're not making a lot of sense. It's a great day to talk hockey. Absolutely. Nikita Kucherov is game time decision on this evening's game. Yes. Well, hopefully he's not playing. The cap wasn't a problem, especially in his contract, drafting and talent evaluation. Yeah, absolutely. Does this look like beer to you, buddy? I don't drink at noon. Used to every now and then. But no, I'm not a day drinker anymore. Once you hit the big 6-0, it's not highly recommended. I'm a nurse who works nights. Time's all messed up. Oh, there you go. Florida pays Bob almost $10 million. Yep. Seemed to work out okay. All right, let's not get into a price discussion. It's pretty silly. I don't smoke early either. I'm not far behind you at 55. Yeah. You like the Cheech and Chong movies there? Still smoking? Man, we know Habs will need the sheriff in the series. Might as well be preparing him now. Only 9 games left to do so. There you go. Well, we've got a good crowd here. Hit the 1,000 mark all told. 925 on X. Again, they come on over. Oh yeah, I met Tommy Chong before. Oh yeah, good Vancouver boy, Canadian lad. Rhino and Hudson will be a top pairing on the Habs when they win the Stanley Cup. I agree. I've been saying it since they drafted Rhino. Looking forward to it, folks. Absolutely, positively. Yeah. So if you're on X, come on over. YouTube Habscast. Hit that like button and join the crowd here on YouTube. It helps me out, and it doesn't benefit Elon. Thank you. I'm going to have to add, by the way here, I'm just going to give these guys a quick shout out. Go to, you see the at Next Level Hockey _ Instagram. Give Mike a follow there. He's a great guy, and he's supporting me here. I'm going to go do a conference in July down in Montreal at his facility. I'm looking forward to it, but he wants to get up to 6,000 on his YouTube, his Instagram. He's getting damn close, but needs a few more. And as soon as he does, he's going to give away to one of his subscribers. He's going to give away a $500 gift certificate. So check out Next Level Hockey on Instagram. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and you could win a $500 gift certificate from Next Level Hockey. Good deal? I think so. Thanks, folks. Thanks for the support. All right, let's get back to on the ferry from the island. Okay. Sheldon. Quiet. You've been quiet lately. You're just lurking in the background, eh? And all of a sudden, oh, there's Sheldon. Yep. Well, I've been saying it for years, so hard to disagree. Never been to Canada. Montreal worth visiting? I'm guessing it's a bit cleaner than Philly, New York. Oh, yeah. Frig. Montreal's the place to be. Go to a hockey game sometime. I think you'll be hooked. Beautiful city, beautiful people, great restaurants. Well, you got that in Philly and New York too, but yeah, downtown's pretty nice. Rhino, Hudson, Dobson, Matson's a hell of a top 4. Absolutely. Goalie, and not even having Goalie on there. Oof. I think Gooley's top 4 guy all day. he's on your third pairing in a couple of years, championship. Haven't been to Montreal in years, but it was real nice then. Yeah, it still is. Who is a better matchup? You know what? I always lurking low. Okay. Good question. I'm trying not to dwell on it too much because, you know, there's just been so many times when the club you didn't expect to win a series wins it. You just don't know, you know. You can say, oh, this is a better matchup, that's a better matchup, and then the opposite happens, right? You know, there were years that, oh, geez, Boston, you know, Montreal's not a good matchup for Boston. They're way too tough. Like, it's just like this year, right? Montreal, it's a deja vu almost. Oh, Montreal can't beat that team in the playoffs because they don't have the tough guys to do it, right? Remember Lucic? Boston was supposed to win that series hands down. Montreal wasn't a good matchup. They weren't tough enough. You know, the handshake line, Lucic and Weiss after and all that. I'm going to kill you, right? Montreal wasn't tough enough. They wasn't a good matchup for him. Well, frickin' they beat him. And you know what they beat him with? Still smoking? Carey Price in nets. Remember that? And the one year, if Carey doesn't get hurt in New York, who knows? They might win the cup that year, right? And that wasn't with a very good friggin' team. It was with a Hall of Fame goaltender. So Buffalo or Tampa, who's a better matchup first round for the Habs? Yeah, well, I answered that. Price had this first star of the game virtually every night. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to avoid this Price Halak thing because it's silly. It didn't happen. They went with Price. He was fantastic 15 years. Took them to a cup final. Would have taken him to a cup final if not for that Kreider incident with mediocre teams, as far as I'm concerned. So wouldn't have been any more successful with Halak. In fact, it would have been the opposite. I don't care to talk about it anymore, and I'm not going to. How are the Habs to away fans? They're good. Way better than Philly and New York when it comes to that. And Boston, trust me. They may not start him with Hudson right away. We'll see. We got a good gang on here, folks. I do have to step away for a minute. Apologies. I'll probably be 50 seconds. Sorry about that. Some things just can't be delayed. Rather play the Sabres? Well, pick your poison. It's not going to be easy either way. I wish they weren't playing either of them, but it'll be a tough series either. I thought they would keep Markov for another year to teach Sergachev the ropes. Yeah. Rather it's Carrier hurt than Gula. We might be better without Carrier. Well, maybe. Again, I like, I hope it's Gooley on the top pairing. Matheson, Gooley. I've been calling for it for a few weeks now. The top PK pairing being Gooley, Matheson, or even Gooley, Dobson. They could each play the right side, but we'll see. Reinbacher and Laval. Okay, why is that? The coach there is preparing him to eventually play with Hudson. Yeah, it could be. I see it as a balanced, good pairing. Sabres have only a few guys with playoff experience. I wouldn't be scared if I was the Habs. Yeah, maybe, eh? And they've been kind of, they're starting to. They had that huge run, and now they're kind of coming back down to earth. Remember that handshake line after the Boston series? Lucic told Weesey was going to, yeah. He said this after the series was over. Yeah, I know. And Weese's reaction like, come on, buddy. Yeah, okay. Lucic tried to pick a fight with his own guy in England. Yeah, he is a hammerhead. Always was, always will be. There's no Halak. Okay, not sure what you. Lucic was never the same after Dalton Prout one-punched him. Well, not to mention the fact that he assaulted his wife. Oh, yeah, I know he's a good one. Vasilevsky and net. Yeah, well, no surprise there. Renault, my buddy Renault just posted Struble, Hudson. Yeah, well, that's a given because they've got Gooley and Jackeye. So Engstrom as an extra. Yeah, we knew that already. No mention of right. Yeah, of course not. That would be pertinent. Renault wouldn't be into pertinency. The Athletic just realized a 2027 draft ranking list. Only the Athletic does that. Corey Pronman and the group, they have, they're, why do one proper list for concentrate on 2026? No. He's got time. He's an expert on, he's watching all the 16-year-olds, the draft eligible guys. He's putting in all the hours on the drafted prospects and doing a top 50 prospects outside the NHL. Again, you spread yourself too thin, you don't have any proper lists, but that's the Athletic way. They got to have these, let's do something half-assed as opposed to doing, let's do three things half-assed instead of doing one thing properly. That's their approach. They can do it. You can believe it. You can take it what it's for worth, but what it is a, whatever. I'm not 2027 draft list. Yeah, well, not very hard to put a Landon Dupont at number one, but time will tell. 70-point scorer, defenseman at 16. That's, yeah. Number one, if Habs goalies are being crashed on Montreal, we'll have to do the same. Okay, periods and punctuation, Moon Observer, these are tough to read. Just throw in a comma. I know you're probably, this isn't I'm going to guess that you might be French, and there's nothing to do with that. Just punctuation, please, because it's hard to read. Who's starting goal for Habs? Oh, Dovish, I would think. That's who Stu thinks, and I think he's right. He's right on that. These combinations can be a big smoke screen. What? Because they want to unleash rookie Engstrom in the game? Hey, if Engstrom's not practicing in the top 3 pairings, having not practiced in Montreal for the past 2 months, guess what? He's not starting the game. He's not starting the game, let's throw him in without even a practice. Our secret weapon, rookie Engstrom on the right side on the 3rd pairing without even one practice. No, there's no smoke screen there, GB. It's a solid indication that he's not practicing with the big team. I don't know why there's so many people watching on X. 1,014, 65 on YouTube. Oh well. Elon's happy, I guess. I do ask that people come to the YouTube channel, press the like button, all that good stuff. I'd appreciate it. So Carrier, as I say, somebody calling him Eggstrom. That's a good name. Showcase time. Yeah, well, they're showcasing them eating hot dogs in the stands then if it's showcase. Because, I don't think it's a showcase scenario, especially if he's not playing. Kind of hard to showcase a guy. Look at how he sits in the press box there. We got to trade for that guy. Dovish reminds me of Bishop Dubnik. Yeah, little bit, eh? Little being the key word there. Upcoming. I guess that's why I freaking changed the thing I put 11 p.m. by mistake, and it's still saying upcoming, even though I changed it to 11 a.m. 65 watching now, 41 likes. Well, I'm gonna like it, so there's 42, but 42 likes, folks. That's not good enough. Press that like button. Do me a favor. Always like to get it up over 100. 42, nowhere close to being over 100. So keep her rolling, folks. I appreciate it. How many people have viewed so far? 760. All right. Not going to be booking a trip to Florida based on this podcast, that's for sure. I was defending Price, but you didn't bother to read past the first sentence. Yeah, well, I am reading about 500 texts here. I don't read them all. Sometimes I don't get past the... Again, I want to get off of the subject of Price and Halak. We go down rabbit holes here. I'd rather not. Price and Halak is nothing to do with this team, right? We're in the now. Let's talk about the game tonight. Let's talk about Reinbacher. Let's talk about Engstrom. Let's talk about Jackeye. Let's talk about... we've discussed Halak and Price long enough. It had nothing to do with your, You personally, I'm just I want to move on from that discussion if it's okay with you. Okay, don't take it personal. Thanks. Sorry, Grant. We'll correct this. I'm bilingual. My negligence. Sorry. Okay, just put a period when it's needed and a comma because I'm trying to. Oh, and then Hendricks comes back with another price one. Okay, Hendricks, I'm moving on. Okay, buddy. Come on, Grant. We go down rabbit holes. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty constant. Um, the one way of moving on from something is for me to stop reading the. If you guys want to continue the debate in here, that's more than fine. Just don't expect me to keep reading it because I don't want it to take over the conversation because it's irrelevant. Yaroslav Halak has not played in a team forever, and Carey Price is, gone. They're not trading. They're not trading Dolbish or Fowler anytime soon. So it's not pertinent to what we're trying to discuss here in the now. Dovish confirmed. Yeah. Well, is Monty done with the team? I would say so. I don't see how he could, unless, well, what, he's still got a year left? Hey, but never say never. What if Fowler craps the bed the rest of the year, comes to camp and he's crappy next year? Then, maybe they hold on to Monty. Maybe they bring him to camp next year just as an insurance policy in case one of them, uh, has some struggles here. But, and I mean, what are you going to realistically get him on the trade market in the off season? Maybe they bring him to camp next year, and if he doesn't win a spot, they try to trade him then, or they try to send him to the minors. I don't know for sure. Dovish will get 6 and 9 remaining games at minimum, probably. Yeah, I would think. Unless they, they clinch somehow and they can't get first or second. Probably. But even still, like, you want the starting goalie to be playing lots, and right? And it's not like Dovish has played 60 games and they need to rest him at the end of the year. He's still only played, what's Dobie played, like 40 games? So you want him as sharp as possible going into the playoffs. I don't think, regardless of whatever scenario, unless Dobie lets in 5 each of his next 3, 5+, and Fowler has 3 shutouts, it's got to be Dobie getting at least 5 of the 9 starts and perhaps 6. Yeah, Dovish has played 37 games this year, so yep, I expect it to be Dovish that gets the majority of the starts here. The last 2 goalies I saw win a cup for Montreal did it first as rookies. Somebody's still on the goaltending narrative there, eh? Yeah. Well, we'll see. Who was the goalie? Last 2 goalies I saw. It was Patrick Roy that both times did it first as rookies. But you're saying You remember 79 and Dryden. Okay, now I get it. I don't know. I mean, they could win the cup next year, and Fowler will be officially still be a rookie next year, right? So I don't know if he can be consistent. I'm not sure. Can somebody answer that? The line combos, but Anderson back with Evans and Bolduc, maybe. That line didn't look too bad together, so that could be a possibility. I would think that that's back. That would be back where Anderson is playing. Well, folks, we're 1,000 watching on X, 66 here. We're not getting the likes. I haven't eaten lunch yet. I gotta feed the puppy. My stomach just growled. So I'm going to pack this in 5 minutes. Unless people want to keep talking about Halak and Dryden or Halak and Price, and I have all day to do that. So what have we got here? Oh, it finally says live. Anybody know who Anderson was practicing with? I'm just going to check one more time. Guess we're not going to hit 100 likes this time around. Did we get up to 50 at least? I'd like to have 50 before I pack her in. 52. All right. Well, I am going to be doing a live podcast after the game tonight. See if the Habs can run it up to 6 regulation wins in a row. I think what I'll do is I'll go back and have a look and see if I can go past. When's the last time they won? They won 6 straight in regulation. Because I know back when they won 5 straight in 2017, that was it. They didn't win 6 straight in reg. So maybe I'll go back and have a look at that and see. Dovish fan mostly because many keep doubting him. Go, Dovey, go. Go Habs, go tonight. Have a good evening. See you tonight, Grant. Okay, Samurai. Thanks for hanging in for a whole show. Get over it. Price a lot. I like that line better than when Anderson was with the no. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Ken. They didn't list lines, just Anderson, Bolduc, and Evans. What do you think of the NHL? David Robertson. Hey, David. What do you think of the NHL giving the Habs a warning for sending one of their 3 goalies ahead to the next game location to rest up? Really, eh? You can be $9 million over the salary cap by having a guy. That's fine. As long as you're in Vegas or Tampa, that's miraculously ready to go first game of the playoffs. That's fine with Bettman, but send a goalie. Montreal sends a goalie ahead to rest up. Oh, that's That's cheating, don't you know? NHL never fails to disappoint. They're quite the bunch. Yeah, that's a bad thing, eh? Send a goalie ahead. I didn't know that they'd been warned about that. You shouldn't do that. What the hell's that? How's that make any difference? It's smart. So what are they going to do? Send fans to blare horns all night? The hotel that the goalie's staying in? Is that, is that their retribution? What are they going to do if they do it again? Since they've been warned, is there something in the rule book that says you can't do it? Anyway, all right, everyone. I'm heading off. See you tonight. Rick is going to be joining me. I don't know if anybody else. Danny Asham, haven't seen you in a while, Dan. I don't know. Second round. I'd be happy with that this year. Something like that. I think they could win the East, maybe. It's very unpredictable, though. I'm not, they might lose in the first round. They might make the Stanley Cup Finals. They might lose in the second, third. They might win the Cup. That's the fun. That's why they play the games. You just don't know. They call it the second season for a reason. See you later, Grant. Okay, Ken. Go Habs, go. You got it. You've got it, Nas. Love that I got over 1,000 people that tuned in on X. I guess that's good. 1K is a nice number. Whether you're tuning in here or on X, just glad you tuned in. Hope you can tune in tonight too, because we'll have a great post-game show regardless. And yeah, that's why we watch and cheer. See you later, Grant. All right there, Tommy Chong Jr. Bye, everyone. See you tonight after the game.